Hi, and welcome to the Wellness Made Easy podcast. I'm Larry Logsdon. Joining me today is Dr. Bob Martin, host of America's largest weekend syndicated health talk show, airing on over 500 radio stations nationwide. Today, we jump into a crucial topic, the one of type 2 diabetes. This is becoming an epidemic in our country. It's the 8th largest cause of death in America today. And we will be talking about a prescription for long-term life that includes changes to your diet and what you can do before each meal and the benefits of doing so with regular exercise. There are natural alternatives to conventional treatments. So stay tuned and enjoy the questions and answer exchange that you see here today. Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Let's turn our attention now to a topic that's completely out of control with respect to health. And that topic is about blood sugar and how diabetes, type 2 diabetes, we used to call it adult onset diabetes, but we can't do that anymore because children are getting it. Younger and younger people are developing diabetes, type 2 diabetes. We thought we'd talk about this because it's rampant in our society, so we recruited a special guest to do just that. His name is Larry Logsdon. Larry Logsdon is a functional food researcher and chemist specializing in the medicinal and health-giving properties and benefits of exotic fruits. Larry founded Tahiti Trader in 1998. Tahiti Trader manufactures and distributes Noni juices throughout the United States and internationally. So with that, let us welcome back to the program Larry Logsdon. How many people, Larry, suffer from type 2 diabetes in America, have you found?
Well, the recent studies show that at least one half of Americans are either pre-diabetic or diabetic now. And 60% of residents of the UK are in this boat. And it's an amazing thing because it never used to be like this.
All right. Well, let's forget about the UK for a little bit. Focus on America. America first, Larry. Just remember that. America first, man. All right. Okay. Now, you said half of Americans, is that American adults have either pre-diabetes or diabetes? Adults.
It's pre-diabetes, it's a diabetes, and type 2 onset diabetes, we used to call it that, but it's actually an amazing group of people. Half of the population is suffering from some kind of blood glucose problem. It's way too high. They have resistance to their insulin or something, and they're just headed downhill fast.
Yes, and I'm sure there are people right now listening to the sound of our voice going, well, he's not talking about me, not me. Yeah, and because my doctor hasn't told me this yet. And that may be true because your doctor has to see that you have it before you have to arrive before you are diagnosed. In other words, your doctor has to see your blood sugar rise precipitously past a certain point. And they may or may not disclose that while they're carefully watching you get worse. Now, some people are saying, well, I don't have it. And they actually do. They don't know it. If 1 out of 2 people listening to the sound of my voice right now, if it's fair to say that, have either pre-diabetes or diabetes, I think we've got a large audience that this is germane to, Larry. I really do. What age groups are most affected by type 2 diabetes?
Well, believe it or not, about 30% are 65 and older, and the rest go all the way down into the teens. All kinds of different people from all over the place are affected by it, and it's just likely having something to do with the foods.
Well, yeah, it's a mixed bag. Foods too, of course, that's large. But I think a lot of people also are saying, well, okay, so what? 1 out of 2 people have either pre-diabetes or diabetes, and when I get it, when my doctor diagnoses it, I'll just deal with it then. Folks, that's not the way you deal with it. And the reason for that is pretty straightforward. By the time you get the diagnosis, that sugar, excess amount of sugar in your bloodstream has damaged your kidney nephrons. And there's a measurable amount of that going on. You can measure that. It has damaged your eyes, increased the age of your eyes. It has damaged your heart. It has damaged your blood vessels. It has damaged your skin. Every part of your body touched by excessive sugar, which is a poison in your system, will age you at such a rapid rate. And you'll look in the mirror and go, wait a minute, gosh, look at my picture from last year. Look at how much I've aged. I need to go get a facelift. That sort of thing. I need to go get some work done on the cosmetic surgery side, which is really bizarre, but it's the way we think. Anyway, all right. So are there any groups of people that are most effective? You say, okay, half of people in the U.S., it tends to be older people who get the diagnosis, and everybody else is below that, maybe in the pre-diagnosis. They're just hanging on by a thread, waiting to go over that threshold, and everybody, it's a different age or whatever. But, are there any groups of people that are most affected, Larry?
Well, of course, there are. Americans of color are most affected, Hispanics, Indians, Asians, Blacks, Filipinos. These folks, Chinese, all these folks in these groups here are more affected than the general population for some reason. We don't know why exactly, but the long story short of it is, it even goes down into the youth, and more so in the youth. Almost all youth are affected. In fact, if you look around, you'll find that there are so many young people that are overweight. I mean, just what is wrong with that kid? He's got at least 40 pounds on him that he doesn't need, and he's only 12.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. What about people who are overweight? You mentioned certain groups of people, but you didn't mention people who are overweight or obese.
Right. Those are the ones that are, of course, most, they're the worst, because they don't realize that the reason they're overweight has to do with their inability to metabolize sugar. So it goes into storage, and it continues to grow, especially around the belly.
And I just want to point out that you don't have to be overweight to get diabetes. You can be skinny and have diabetes, even though it's less often, but it does occur. Larry, we're going to need to take a break here, and then we'll come back to you and get into this topic further. Folks, we're talking about type 2 diabetes. It's rampant in America. It's much worse. It has gotten much worse over the last 10, 20 years. It's epidemic. It's terrible, and it destroys the health and the lives of people and their families. And this is a completely preventable health challenge, and one that can be absolutely reversed. It can be. You just got to know how. And our special guest is going to clue us in on some of the hints as to what you can do to try to avoid that bullet of type 2 diabetes, because it's not just a disease. You go to your doctor, you get fixed up. It is a disease that will just take the wheels, if you will, right off the body over time and age you at an accelerated rate, and also leave the quality of your life circling the drain. You do not want to manage diabetes, type 2 or type 1 for that matter, because it destroys your quality of life. We want you to have excellent quality of life. There are ways to get to that, and Larry's going to be telling us after we take this news break. All right, back to our conversation with Larry Logsdon on the topic of type 2 diabetes, insulin resistance, and alike. We're here trying to get some solutions to this problem so that people don't have to try to endure that issue. Larry, thank you for staying with us there. Let's get right back into this. What are the most common treatments that people are getting for type 2 diabetes that you would see in a conventional setting?
Well, the number one treatment is off-the-shelf metformin. It's probably the one that's given most often. I mean, it's probably 70% of the treatments. The rest are much less. But that's the one that you'll find most doctors are handing out like cotton candy.
Mm-hmm. There are others. What about side effects for these drugs? What are people, if they're doing this, what are they to be concerned about?
Well, there's no question about it. You take that metformin, you're going to feel nausea, abdominal pain, bloating for sure, diarrhea to look out. You have to run with that one. It's just there's no easy answer trying to regulate blood sugar.
Not everybody gets those, and obviously the drug is effective at bringing their A1C back into range and blood sugar down, the glucose down. That's a good thing. But if there is a natural way, and that's what we want to get to here, Larry, the natural ways. And I know that today, you before the show, you shared something with me, and I'm going to play it to our audience here, an audio clip of a person who used the Tahiti Trader island-style Noni juice to help manage her blood sugar. And I'm going to ask our producer here to play that audio tape, and then we'll come back. Go.
Hi, this is Elaine McAnally. How are you?
Hey, Elaine, how are you? So how are you doing these days?
Oh, I'm doing well. Yeah.
Well, so you have been doing pretty good. I know you had some issues with your blood sugar. How is that these days?
Well, actually, it went up. Actually, 6 so A1C, and then it's back down to 5 so.
Oh, that's good.
Happy with that. But Noni is helping promote. When the doctor said he just came, okay, want to be on metformin or whatever, and I go, no, I can do this with diet, and so I'll be close to me, and I did. So diet exercise, I'll take an ounce of a shot of Noni each morning. And that's something Noni does is like that really helps with the healing processes. When I don't have it, or when I take the Noni pills, this basically juice when I'm traveling, I think I can feel a difference. My energy level for sure. I feel helps better when I'm able to take it really in the morning. I haven't really upped it to more than one a day, but I've thought about it at times. I had anything on it. I had 73, going to be 74 in September. I think I've a lot more energy than a lot of people that have.
Okay, so there's a lady. Larry sent me this audio tape of him interviewing one of his customers who is using Tahiti Trader Noni juice, island style, ahead of meals, an ounce of it ahead of meals to help her blood sugar problems. And her A1C, which is an important marker blood test, it has to do with hemoglobin attaching to sugar. And it's sort of like a report card over a 3-month period of time as to how your body is managing blood sugar. If she was 6 plus and went down into the 5s, that's major. And if it was done with something that's drug free, wouldn't you want to know? That's the whole message here. And there is something. It's called Tahiti Trader Noni juice. The therapeutics one in that line is the island style. There are others too, Tahiti Trader with blueberry, raspberry, grape, and pear. But if you really struggle with blood sugar problems and you're overweight, or you have a kind of a abdominal pouch there, like a sort of like a beer belly, or you look like 3 or 4 months pregnant and that belly is hanging out there, it's likely that you have prediabetes or diabetes. You'd be a candidate for taking Tahiti Trader Noni juice, island style. And then as you get better and things get better, you can switch over to the more palatable juice with the blueberry in it. But Tahiti Trader Noni juice, island style, you can find it at GNC stores throughout the valley, Sprouts, farmers markets, Whole Foods, or other fine health food stores. Or you can go to TahitiTrader.com, TahitiTrader.com, or Monday for more questions and answers. You can call Tahiti Trader Noni directly at 800-842-5309. 800-842-5309. We're going to take a break and come back with our finishing comments of Larry Logsdon. Hey, Dr. Bob Martin back with you. Our special guest is Larry Logsdon. Larry is a functional food researcher and chemist specializing in the health-giving properties of exotic fruits. In this case, we're talking about Tahiti Trader Noni juice fruit. In this last segment, you heard a customer of Tahiti Trader who has been using Tahiti Trader Noni juice, island style, the more therapeutic one. and how she was able to very much impress her own medical doctor by moving down her A1C blood marker, which is a report card of how the body is managing blood sugar over a 3-month period of time. And it went down large, folks. Those are large movements when you move out of 6 and into the 5 category there, as she did, which is going to basically extend her lifespan and improve the quality of her life with less sugar floating around in her bloodstream. Larry, can you recap some of the benefits and some of the things people can do to help better manage their blood sugar?
Well, Dr. Bob, the obvious one is exercise.
Yes.
That burns the free sugars in the bloodstream. And I'm talking about a half an hour of moderate exercise every day. Just do it, folks. Figure a way to do it. 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there. Second thing is eat whole food. I mean, none of this processed stuff, folks. Get away from the boxes. Those foods are filled with junk. The reality check, folks, is that these foods, they use the cheapest ingredients possible, and high fructose corn syrup is the cheapest form of sweetener available, and they're going to use it every time. Watch. And the third thing is make sure you see your doctor regularly, get those tests done, make sure you know where you're at, and continue to work at improving your life by adding Noni juice. It's an amazing thing. You won't believe it. You'll feel better. You'll notice a difference in your health, and you'll say, how in the world did I go without this stuff? And I guarantee you one thing, if you don't feel better, I'll give your money back.
What about the science, Larry? Most people go, what? Fruit juice? That doesn't work. That's got a lot of sugar in it. What about that?
Well, this doesn't have sugar in it at all. This is fermented, something like apple cider vinegar or something, because Noni juice is actually a vinegar. And the material, the fruit solids that are within this juice are good for you. It has more than 160 unique nutrient compounds that feed your body to do what it's trying to do so it can make things healthy again and heal your body.
And so the taking of it, you take an ounce of it, about 15 minutes before you eat, before each meal, and say goodbye to high blood sugar.
That's correct. In fact, I've got some people on a special program who have really high blood sugar problems, and we're using 2 ounces for these people in a glass of water prior to having their meals, and they're seeing their A1C drop a full freaking point.
Wow. Okay, folks, get your A1C checked, or your glucose or your C-peptide, and then take the challenge yourself over the next 60, 90 days, and they get retested, see how much better you are. You'll see a lot of other signs and symptoms of your body going on too. When you take that Noni juice, an ounce of that, and a little bit of water, about 15 minutes before you eat, you can find Tahiti Trader Noni juice. Get the island style. It's the most therapeutic one. You can get it at GNC, Sprouts, Whole Foods, and other fine health food stores. You can also go to TahitiTrader.com, TahitiTrader.com, or call them 800-842-5309. And if you don't think you have any problem with blood sugar, remember, insulin resistance also occurs when the body cells, the muscles, fat, liver respond poorly to insulin. And that's a lot of people on the fringe. They don't even know they're headed for diabetes because their doctors really aren't telling them. They're watching them while they get sick and will start treating it as a disease once they arrive. That's not the way to go, folks. I mean, it's huge out there. So my suggestion is sort of like prediabetes is like, osteopenia, the stage before osteoporosis. It's sort of like saying somebody, well, they're only 2 months pregnant, so they're just a little pregnant. No, you're pregnant one way or the other. So if you have blood sugar that's past 85 is the optimal and below, you've got prediabetes. Check your glucose the next time on a 10, 12-hour fast. And do not allow that thing to rise over time because you'll end up with full-blown diabetes. Try it. The Tahiti Trader Noni island style in finer health food store, and you too will be the recipient of the benefits.
Thank you for tuning in to the Wellness Made Easy podcast. I appreciate your support. Be sure to follow us on social media and visit TahitiTrader.com for more health tips and information. Until next time, drink your Noni and stay well.